I've been on record, I guess controversially on some levels. I don't really believe engagement's a thing. So I'll just start with something that probably is going to make people freak out a little bit. I think you kind of care about engagement, and I know all the studies. I've read all of them about, but the logic of breaking that all of those studies is pretty simple, and it's if your best employee, okay, in any regard, we'll do it in sales because it's easy, but you could do it in product management or UI or HR or recruiting. Your best employee, let's say they're in TA, just make it super efficient. Your best recruiter is not engaged. They don't come to your Christmas parties. They don't attend your weekly meetings. They're not on Slack. They don't show up to anything, but they're killing the 40 recs that they're killing, that you hand them, and they're killing them every time in and time out. You give them a rec, they kill it. Not just with the talent you need, but superb talent. No, but they're not engaged. By the definition of engagement, they're not engaged in your company and in your bid and in your values and the way that you want to see the world. They're just doing their job and they're really good at it. Now, if you take that to the board's going to say, yeah, who cares if they're engaged? They're killing it. All we care is the production is there. Now, does engagement lead to production? Yes, of course, there's a relationship between the two, can be. There also doesn't necessarily mean that there is one. And also, I'll point out that superstars in any facet of your life, whether or not they're entertainers or rock stars or whatever, play on teams of sports, etc. If we think right here, sitting on this call, naively that they play by the same rules as everybody else, we're kidding ourselves. Like, pick your favorite. I love world football, which we call soccer in the U.S. But basically, there's a Brazilian football player named Neymar. He plays for Paris Saint-Germain, played for Barcelona, but he plays for Brazil's national team. If you think that Neymar has to do all the other things that the rest of the team does, like does Neymar go to practice? No. Does Neymar go and talk to the coach and have to do the 5 laps around the field? No. Neymar scores 5 goals against Marseille. That's what you pay him for. So I just want to make sure that when we talk about engagement, it's towards, there's a reason we talk about engagement, and there's a reason that we believe it's important. It's a speed bump on the way to something much more important, and that is the retention of your top talent. That, I would argue, is the most important part. That's the leadership, the rest of the leadership team and the board looks at us and says, do we have the ability to retain our best people? And if that means they're engaged, fantastic. And if they're not engaged, fantastic. We just want to be able to have the ability to retain our top talent. That's why I love Matthew's approach with Peoplelogic. I love it so much because it's looking at the signals that are buried in different disparate technologies where people talk about their intentions, but they don't do it in a survey format. And they're not picking up on those signals. So I love signaling software. I love the ability to then understand, how do I keep my most coveted employees and my top performers, etc., without bogging them down with surveys, without bogging them down with a bunch of administrivia that they don't care about, generally speaking. So I know some people are going to react to that in probably a negative way, and I don't mean to turn anybody off. It's just, I think if we change the discussion again, someone can be engaged, and I love it if they are, that's great. And they also are a producer. They do a wonderful job for us. That's cool. But if they don't, we need to know what's going on in their lives. Like, I'm wearing a Fitbit, right? Like, we all have one of these types of devices. I want to know what's going on in my body. So I got the Fitbit Sense. So I can do an EKG, a basic EKG. I can look at my sleep patterns. Like, I want to know that stuff. The organization wants to know that stuff about me as well. But it's not intrusive. You know what I mean? I'm just wearing a watch. it also tells time. So it does some other things as well. Like, but I think the health of your organization, understanding what's going on, is not using the what people call the cabinets or the containers of yesterday. We have to use different containers to get to different outcomes. And I think that's one of the things that, Matthew, I think that's, I love the finding out the data, again, getting the insight, and then being able to do something with the insight without necessarily bugging them and bogging them down with things that they don't think are, that there's anything going to come from them.